Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be reading Genesis 10 through 15. Genesis 10. And this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yawan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Yawan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these, the coastland peoples of the nations were separated into their lands, everyone according to the language, according to their clans, into their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Sheba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabteka. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. And Cush, he was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. And in the beginning of his reign was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From the land he went to Ashur, and built Nineveh, and Rehoboth, and Keilah, and Resen between Nineveh and Keilah, the great city. And Mizraim brought forth Ludim, and Anamim, and Lahabim, and Naphatuim, and Pastruim, and Kashluhim, from whom came the Pelashites, and the Caphtorim. And Canaan brought forth Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arwadite, and the Sermatite, and the Hamathite. And afterward the clans of the Canaanites were spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as you go towards Gerar, as far as Azah, as you go towards Sodom, and Amorah, and Admah, and Seboim, and as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in the lands in their nations. And also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, brought forth the sons of Shem, Eliam, Asher, Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arpachshad brought forth Shelah, and Shelah brought forth Eber. And to Eber was born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan brought forth Almadad, and Shelpleph, and Hatzarmaweth, and Yera, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Obal, and Ebameel, Sheba, and Aphor, and Havilah, and Yobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling place was from Misha, as you go toward Sephar, a mountain of the east. These were the sons of Shem, according to their clans, according to their languages, in the lands according to their nations. These were the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nation. And from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood. And it came to be, all the earth had one language and one speech. And it came to be, as they departed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to each other, Come, and let us make bricks, and bake them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city, a tower whose top is in the Shamayim, and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over all the face of the earth. Then Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And Yahweh said, Look, they are one people, and they are of one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech. And Yahweh scattered them from there and over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. That is why the name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused language of all the earth. And from there Yahweh scattered them all over the face of the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and brought forth Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And after he brought forth Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years, and brought forth Shelah. And after he brought forth Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years, and brought forth Eber. And after he brought forth Eber, Shelah lived 403 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years, and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, Eber lived 430 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years, and brought forth Serug. And after he brought forth Serug, Reu lived 207 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and brought forth Nahor. And after he brought forth Nahor, Serug lived 200 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of the birth of Ur Kasdim. And Abram and Nahor took wives, and the name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, and the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yishka. And Sarai was barren, and she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram, and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Ur Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And Yahweh said to Abram, Go yourself out of your land, from your relatives, and from your father's house to the land which I show you, and I shall make you a great nation, and barak you, and make your name great, and you shall be a barakah. And I shall barak those who barak you, and curse him who curses you, and in you all the clans of the earth shall be barak. So Abram left as Yahweh had commanded him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the beings whom they had acquired in Haran, and they departed of the land in Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan. They departed from the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram passed through the land, and the place of Shechem, as far as Terebinth, tree of Morah, and at that time the Canaanites were in the land. And Yahweh appeared to Abram, and said, To your seed I give this land. And he built there an altar to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. And from there he moved to the mountain of the east of Bethel, and he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east, and he built there an altar to Yahweh, and called the name of Yahweh. And Abram departed, continuing toward Negeb. And a scarcity of food came to be in the land, and Abram went to Misraim to dwell there, for the scarcity of food was severe in the land. And it came to be, when he was close to entering Misraim, that he said to Sarai his wife, See, I know that you are a lovely woman to look at. And it shall be, when the Mizraimites see you, and they shall say, This is his wife, and they shall kill me, but let you live. Please say that you are my sister, so that it shall be well with me for your sake, and my life is spared because of you. And it came to be, when Abram came into Misraim, that the Mizraimites saw the woman, and she was very lovely. And Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. And he treated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and cattle, and male donkeys, and male and female servants, and female donkeys and camels. But Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not inform me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister? And so I was going to take her for my wife. Look, here is your wife, take her and go. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. Chapter 13. And Abram went up from Misraim and Negeb, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him. And Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And he went on the journey from Negeb as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been in the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at first, and there Abram called the name of Yahweh. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. And at that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I go to the right, or if you go to the right, then I go to the left. And Lot lifted his eyes and saw all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before Yahweh. Destroyed Sodom and Amorah like the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Misraim as you go toward Zoar. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot moved east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram dwelling in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelling in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent as far as Sidom. But the men of Sidom were evil and sinned before Yahweh exceedingly so. And after Lot had separated from him, Yahweh said to Abram, Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all of the land which you see I shall give to you and your seed forever. For all the land, and I shall make your seed as dust of the earth, so that if a man count the dust of the earth, then your seed shall also be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahweh. Chapter 14. And it came to be in the days of Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, Kedalar Omar, sovereign of Eliam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, that they fought against Bera, sovereign of Sidom, Bersha, sovereign of Amorah, Shinab, sovereign of Admah, Shem-Ebar, sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is in the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the sovereigns that were with him came and smote the Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Canaan, and Zuzim, in Ham, and the Emites, and the Shawa, and the Kerethith, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir, as far as El-Paran, which is by the wilderness. As they turned back and came to Ain, Mishpat, and Kasdesh, smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, who dwelt in Hatzothan Tamar, and the sovereign of Sidom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that are in Zoar, went out and joined together in the battle of the valley of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer, sovereign of Eliam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elsar, 4 sovereigns against 5. And in the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Sidom and Amorah had fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. And they took all the goods of Sidon and Amorah, and all their food, and went away. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sidom, and his goods, and left. And one who escaped came and informed Abram the Ibri, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, an Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Anar, and they had a covenant with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants, who were born in his own house, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he his servants divided against them by night, and smote them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is on the left of the Damascus. So he brought forth all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return from the defeat of Kedorlaomer, and the sovereign who were with him, the sovereign of Sedom came out to meet him in the valley of Shawah, that is in the sovereign valley. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Shalem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the Kohen of the Most High El. And he barak him and said, Barak be Abram of the Most High El, possessor of all the Shemayim and earth. And Barak be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tenth of all. And the sovereign of Sedom said to Abram, Give me the people and take the goods for yourself. And Abram said to the sovereign of Sedom, I have lifted my hand to Yahweh, the Most High El, the possessor of all the Shemayim and the earth, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. Except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with Anar, Eshcol, Mamre, let me take their portion. Chapter 15. After these events, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid, Abram, I am your shield, your reward is exceedingly great. And Abram said, Adonai Yahweh, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, as heir of my house is Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, See, you have given me no seed, and see, one born in my house is my heir. And see, the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, This one is not your heir, but he who comes from your own body is your heir. And he brought him outside and said, Look now toward the Shemayim, and count the stars if you are able to count them. And he said to him, So are your seed. And he believed in Yahweh, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am Yahweh, who brought you out of the Ershkadim to give this land to inherit it. And he said, Adonai Yahweh, whereby do I know that I possess it? And he said to him, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, and a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took all of these to him, and cut them in the middle, and placed each in the opposite to the other, but he did not cut the birds. And the birds of prey came down, and the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And it came to be, when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that, see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, Know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. But the nation whom they serve I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out with great possessions. Now as for you, go to your fathers in peace. You are to be buried at a good old age. Then, in the 4th generation, they shall return here, for the wickedness of the Amorites is not yet complete. And it came to be, when the sun went down in the dark, that see, a smoking oven and a burning torch passing between those pieces. On the same day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, I have given this land to your seed, from the river of Misraim to the great river of river Perath, with the Kenite, and the Kezanite, and the Kamadite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Rephaim, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Ubezite. When I return next, I'll be reading chapter 16. Thank you.